So today I'd like to talk about accessibility, and I think this is one of those problems that is not easily solved and sometimes even harder to recognize. So what does it mean to be accessible? Accessible is to not have as few obstacles as possible, so as many people as possible are not only comfortable, capable of going up, but comfortable, and it's something that they want to do. Now, for things when they are unaccessible is when there's notable barriers, whether it's the presentation or whether there's cost or just a mean manner that people don't feel comfortable or capable of interacting with a resource or a person. So, like, for example, PETA, for example, is a supposedly a non-profit, I don't know, organization that's dedicated to saving the lives of animals, but they're probably one of the least accessible organizations that I know of, not because they aren't open about it, but because the way they present themselves is just so disgusting that no one with, who actually understands animal rights or basic human rights actually wants to go do anything with them. They're inaccessible, and so I've been hearing recently that there are problems concerning whether or not the asexual community is accessible. And for example, there's a lot of tension right now between LGBT groups and the asexual community. But more than that, and I could go into that, but I think that's gone into quite enough, and that's not really what I want to talk about, but it's more so what I've seen coming up is that there are other asexual people who are alienated from the ace community. In the beginning of this channel, we actually had someone who was on this channel for a little bit, but they became alienated from our community. And I think this is a problem for a lot of people. So, for example, their silly camera. Some of the things that make us seem inaccessible to others are silly things. For example, am I an accessible person? Honestly, I don't think I appear that way, which is a shame. I try to be open, but I don't know, I don't think people feel comfortable talking with me about a lot of things. And as for the community, there are certain things that make us seem inaccessible, and part of that is because there's a lot of stereotypes of and a lot of people trying to define what asexuality means that can be ranged from the very broad to the extremely specific, and those are the things that cause problems. I'm not so much, I understand why people would want to find things and say this is an ace experience, but there are things that alienate people when we shouldn't be doing that. So, for example, one example of possibly alienation thing is some asexual people do not like the term ace. Some people, which some of you may find bizarre, but there are some people who don't like it. And I think that's understandable. Some people don't want to be associated with a term that, well, there are lots of reasons why. I don't go into them because I personally prefer that term. It's easy for me, but it's not easy for other people. Some people just don't like it. Another example is role models. What role models do we have? We have David J. is one role model. We have role models in fiction who some people think Doctor Who, some people think Sherlock, and some people don't like either of those people, and so we don't have a lot of women, a lot of female role models in the ace community, or at least we don't have iconic female role models, or at least a lot of them that are easily identified by the community at large. And then there is another issue, but there's a lot of issues. I could go into a lot of them, and a lot of them are problematic, but I don't have time, and one of them is the issue of sex confidence, sex shame, sex propulsed, sex positive, sex negative. Those things also are a problem, as far as because those get used to define asexuality when they shouldn't be. They aren't. I mean, they aren't. None of those things are like integral to the ace experience, because the ace experience is vast and broad and a lot of different things. I don't have any solution. Honestly, I don't have a lot of solutions for bridging the gap between everybody, because I don't have a lot of time that I've devoted to thinking about possible solutions. But one thing that I just know that there are problems, and we should think of ways to address them. I also know that one big thing that I will mention is that a lot of people also want the main place we have for, as far as accessibility goes, is even, and I know a lot of people personally who are alienated by that site. I am alienated by that site, and it's not necessarily the content on that site or anything about it. It's because I hate forums. I really hate forums. My experience on a forum dies out like 2 months in, and I can't. Even when I lasted pretty long on it, I was active on it for like several months, but forums are not my thing. So I think that as far as accessibility goes, I don't think we should be trying to mold our community into like an easily digestible experience that everyone can accept, so much as just finding ways to, we shouldn't have to accommodate people either, but because why should we? We shouldn't accommodate like people who aren't. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but there just needs to be something. I don't know what it is. Honest to goodness, I don't. So that is my spiel. See ya. Whoops.